What is up, Fairway Nation? Welcome to Fairway Fresh Live. My name is Mike Orlando. I am your marketing training manager. And today we are talking about getting more reviews, primarily for your Google business profile, which was, of course, formerly Google My Business. So, of course, Google holds over a 90% market share of all search engines. So you really want people to be able to find you on the first page. What helps with your Google ranking and your SEO is having reviews on your Google business profile. So here to talk to us about that process and how he's found success is Loan Officer Jeff Quincey. Jeff, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be with us here today.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Excited to talk about this topic.
Awesome. So can you give us just a quick background on yourself, like how long you've been in the industry, how long you've been at Fairway, where you're located?
Yep, perfect. I've been in the business for 19 years, the last 4 years here at Fairway, and located in the Phoenix, Arizona market.
Awesome. So let's get started. So you joined Reggie Green's team almost 4 years ago now, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. And he had challenged you and your team to increase the amount of Google reviews for your branch. So when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that there were about 53 reviews on the branch's Google profile. So how many are there now? And what was your strategy for answering that challenge from Reggie?
Sure. Yeah. So we did start, I believe it was 53 reviews about 2 years ago when he put the challenge out. And now, and it's a branch review page, right? So it's for all of us, Team Green reviews. If you Google that, you'll see, I believe we're nearing 320 now. So 270 increase over the last 2 years.
That's a lot. And that's great. So can you kind of talk about how many you're getting per month? What are you doing to get those reviews?
Absolutely. So obviously the number that we get per month is 100% indicative of the closed loans we have. However, as a team, and my team consists of my wife, Cece, she's our loan officer assistant, and then my loan partner, Randy Ellis. And, right now I went back and kind of tracked it. 80% of our closed loans are leaving us a 5-star review on Google. And then I didn't go look at it, but I would guess out of those last 270 reviews over the last 2 years, about 100 to 120 of them have come from our team. In terms of how we're getting those, it's a very planned out process, right? When Reggie gave us that challenge, my wife and I sat down that night and we're like, so how are we going to do this? Right? It's something we're tracking at the branch. What's our system? We're very big on systems of everything that we do within the branch and within our team. And we kind of just through trial and error kept focusing our efforts and our process. And it really started with a closing email from CC requesting the 5-star review. And what we tweaked and changed from there is we just made it a non-negotiable part of our business, right? And I know a lot of loan officers in the company that are way more successful than me. And we talked about this earlier, Mike, is, for the most part, we have non-negotiables in some form of our business, whether it's the loan setup from start to finish. And we're like, no matter what, this is what the loan process is going to look like. And I feel like one thing that's missing is understanding the value of those Google reviews and then building a non-negotiable system around it to where it happens. And that's really what we did. Is it's morphed into, on my first call or Randy's first call, we let our clients know that the expectation, our incentive to do a really good job for them and exceed their expectations is at the end of the loan, we are going to ask for a 5-star review. And that's our motivation to do a good job, because if we don't meet those expectations, I don't expect you to leave a 5-star review for me. From there, I make a phone call on closing day, congratulating them on the close of their loan. And I remind them that in the next 24 hours, CC is going to be sending them an email. They know who she is because she's been highly involved with them in the document gathering process. She's going to be sending an email with 2 important parts. The first part is going to be the request for a 5-star review on Google, with step-by-step instructions on where to go and leave that review, how to do it. And then the second piece, and I always structure it, right? I get the luxury of taking the backseat easy approach. And I say, but the most important part of the email is step 2 is going to be a link to Fairway Next. It's going to house all of your payment data. You'll be onboarded onto that site in the next couple of weeks. So it's a very soft approach. And then CC's email comes in the next 24 hours, walking them through what to do. From there, and I think the most important part of our process is CC kind of dictates what her follow-up strategy is going to be with that client. If they don't have a Gmail account, she's not going to push them very hard, right? We have to understand that Google reviews are 100% self-serving. Yeah, there's a small element of somebody leaving a 5-star review and writing some good words and feeling good that they helped somebody, but it's really a self-serving deal. So if they don't have Gmail, they're probably not going to take that extra step to go create a Gmail account and leave that Google review. If they have Gmail and they raved all through the process about our world-class experience, CC is going to be like a dog on a bone on that and not let them off easy. And she will follow up until we get that review on Google. So it's a very, like I said, non-negotiable process that we have that we are going to absolutely get those reviews.
So I love what I'm hearing when you say things like non-negotiable, right? Like we have in our processes, like you said, non-negotiable things when it comes down to, it could be lead conversion or, opening or processing or underwriting. We have a process to set up and things that we deem as really important. So I think what you're saying is part of having is how important are the reviews to your business and understanding how important they are, and then setting up a non-negotiable process to actually go ahead and get them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago when we were on our call, is you have to determine, and this is a conversation, here's a side nugget not related to Google reviews that I'm having conversations with agents left and right now. And I highly recommend loan officers take this and run with it, is you should be having conversations with agents about what their non-negotiables are in business, right? Lenders and agents alike. We run our business. It's kind of come in by the seat of our pants. There's no clear define. We're business owners. We can do whatever we want. And I've just taken that to the review of the Google review process, right? We're not going to, as a team, just run this like, oh, whatever we get, because we have to understand that there is a true value in that Google review. Most people in today's market are going to search who they're working with, even if it's a referral. I'm 100% referral based. I don't do any internet leads. And even when an agent refers me, I can guarantee you that client is searching me on Google, right? Additionally, the hidden benefit is when I'm talking to a client that seems to be a shopper, and I can say all my value proposition, I can tell them everything I'm going to do. But if I can tell them, hey, go Google Team Green reviews, sort it by newest, and out of the last 10 or 15 branch reviews, my name and Cece's name and Randy's name is going to be mentioned out of 10 out of the last 15 reviews, that gains credibility right there. You don't have to trust what your agent said about me. You don't have to trust what I'm going to say about myself. Go read what past clients have actually said about their experience with us. And that's how we set it up on that closing call. I say, hey, if you leave a Google review, what you're doing for us is giving clients who find us online a firsthand experience from a client like yourself. So that's kind of the incentive that I give them, is that they are helping us in that manner.
Awesome. And, I love there's a couple of things here. So you have your process set up, you understand how important it is, but it's also very pointed that you're making a point to bring this up a couple of times, right? So I love the fact that you understand that you have people raving about the process. It could have been anything, but when you're talking to borrowers, who these people are, the people who are, really happy with what's going on, how you help them. It could be something specific, it could be something crazy, you maybe they got denied somewhere else, but you were able to help them or something like that. Or there's people who are just really happy with how things are going. But you make a point to go after those people, right? Don't let them kind of escape without leaving your review. But also, setting it up where, first of all, can you just talk about that for just a second?
Yeah, just as far as how we're setting it up, and so really it's. In that initial conversation, we're talking about delivering a world-class experience. If there's another hidden benefit to Google reviews, it's holding you and your team accountable to delivering on that world-class experience. So if I'm talking about that up front and I'm setting that very high expectation of what that client should expect from us, we now have to deliver on that. And I believe Randy and Cece are on this call, so they're going to be laughing when they hear this. But we had one experience, and I'll admit that sometimes I can be tough to work. I have very high expectations. I can be tough to work for. And we had one agent-client relationship that, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't the world-class experience that I have as an expectation. And the three of us had a conversation about it, right? We got to be better. We got to be on the ball at all times, especially in this market, right? Business is hard to come by. And then we need every client we can get so that we have more people who can refer us. So that's really just setting an expectation with the client of what they should get from us, or if they use another lender, what their expectation should be.
I love that idea too, of teeing it up from the beginning, setting the expectation with the client and with your team about, this is what you should expect to get. You should get a 5-star experience. So then when you ask for that 5-star review later, it's already set up for them that way.
Absolutely. Yep. And usually when Cece talks to them, they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. We'll jump in and do it. But that's when she's the dog on the bone. If a week goes by and they haven't left a review, you can bet that client's getting a phone call. Hey, do you need the link resent to you? And that's another side note. We routinely will go through periods where over 2 or 3 weeks, we won't get any reviews. Google oftentimes updates how you're found on reviews. So if we see a stretch where we're not getting any reviews, we'll go recheck that hyperlink that we're sending to them to make sure it's working. And I would say every year we change that about 3 to 4 times, or change the instructions to match what the client's finding on Google. So I think as you're just making the decision, and this kind of goes back to the non-negotiable, is you have to determine, is it a value in your business to have Google reviews? Right. And I'm going to argue, if you've valued the loan process and you've set up a non-negotiable system of what that process looks like, you should probably be making the decision that Google reviews need to be a part of your business, make it non-negotiable, come up with a defined process. And then you have to be inspecting that process all the time, especially with how often Google changes. So that I believe is an important part of it. You don't want to be asking people for something they actually can't complete through your instructions.
Yeah, and I think if we talk about what those benefits are, I think, like you mentioned before, having people that may be on the fence about whether they're going to go with you or not, having them go to your Google profile and check out the reviews just to boost that consumer confidence. But on top of that, like if you're not talking about borrowers you're currently working with, but just people who are just generally searching for you or searching for mortgages in your area, having those reviews does boost your SEO and makes you a little bit more searchable in that way.
Searchable. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And as Jake mentioned in his email this morning, right, he put in there the decided mind, talking about going out and getting the business that's there. I think when it comes to reviews and Google reviews, you have to make a decision. Is this something you're going to implement into your business? And it's kind of what I talked about earlier, the conversations I'm having with real estate agents is, don't just fly by the night, be like, oh, that's a great idea. Google reviews, maybe we should do something with this. Decide yes or no. And I think no is the wrong answer, but if that's where you land, I'd rather you land there than yes in a non-committed, non-negotiable type of setup. If you land on yes, sit down with your team, your branch manager, whoever, in the next 24 hours and define your process and then implement it.
Love it. Love it. Hey, this kind of goes away from our previous conversation a little bit, but how much do you respond to reviews that you get?
Every single one. So we actually have somebody in the branch, Reggie Green is our branch manager. His executive assistant actually goes in and responds to every single review. And then we go in and like all of our reviews that come in pertaining to us so that they can see that in response. And I think it's good for the consumer that's searching us to see that we're active in that Google review process. So,
and that you're responsive on top of it, right? Which is huge in our industry.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, hey, do you have the last thing to kind of wrap this up? Someone who might just be new to Fairway, it could be about reviews, not reviews. It doesn't really matter. But what's something I'd like to ask? Like, what's something, a loan officer just starting out? What's something that, like, one piece of advice, something that they need to know that you'd like to offer?
I'm going to 2-part answer this. So first one is, when it comes to reviews, obviously you need 2 things. You have to have closed loans. Without closed loans, you don't have anybody to ask for a review from, right? The second thing is, even with closed loans, you have to deliver a world-class 5-star experience to be able to have the right to ask somebody to go do something that's self-serving to you. Separate that, somebody new at Fairway, I would say, especially in this market, you've got to just simply keep your head down and keep working. I was just talking to some loan officers in my branch yesterday, and there's scared with where things are going. Where's it going to, are things going to shift for the better? Yes, it's all cyclical. It's going to turn around when, we don't know. But the ones who keep their head down right now and just focus on those daily non-negotiable activities, get out, talk to as many agents as you can, network, meet new clients. If you do that, when the market shifts, you're going to be winning. We can sit here and wait for the market to shift, but if you didn't have your head down and you weren't grinding this year when things were tough, you're going to watch everybody else flourish next year and wonder why you're not getting a piece of the pie. So start doing it now, right? Those daily activities. With that, and this was probably a much longer answer than you expected. With that, I'm big on really paying attention to your work ethic. So one thing we can control, right? I see so often people walk in the office at 10, they go to lunch at 11:30, they come back at 1:30, and they leave and go home at 3:30. And I know they're walking in the door going, oh, I just put in an 8-hour day. Be real with yourself. Did you only work 2 hours? Well, results often harsh, always fair, right? You're going to get out of this business what you put into it. So that's what I mean by keeping your head down and doing those daily tasks. And if you're in the office for 8 hours, put in 8 hours of work.
Awesome. Love it. Hey, I want to thank everybody for attending today. This is all the time that we have. And I want to thank Jeff, obviously, for sharing his insights on how to increase your online reviews. I do want to add, while we're on the topic, if you are pushing people to Google now to send you reviews, you want to make sure that your Google business profile is complete and optimized. And I'm hosting a workshop on this topic tomorrow at noon Central. I'm going to put a link in the chat, and I'm also going to send it through for the, when we send the recording out for everybody. I'll put that in the email as well. So again, thanks, Jeff. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Mike.
Awesome. Hey, have a great rest of the week, everybody.